288,000. Our view when we produce a product has to be packaging it and creating it for CARICOM. That's number one. Number two, in doing this, we need an Exim bank or an Exim type facility, because the commercial banks aren't structured to handle that kind of risk. So we need an Exim type operation that is able to take our goods and services and look for ways to get it out of the country, and then offer the support and shepherding that these businesses use in order to grow and fulfill the dreams.
So this vision that, I'm really impressed with the fact that you're speaking to a vision that speaks to my mind, it speaks to a corporatist state model where you have private sector, public sector partnerships, and you're looking to harness what we are good at to export not only abroad outside of Barbados, going to developed countries, but also in the CARICOM market and perhaps in the Latin American market. And that is a good, because it tells me that your vision is looking to change how Barbados develops. I know we're talking about the cultural industries and the potential there, but I wanted to ask, since that you seem to be pushing the information communications technology aspect and that kind of thing, is there room for us to develop an information communications technology industry where we have our young people who are into the computer training, who are into the technology, where we can really harness their skills and perhaps become like an India, who a lot of Indians are very good at technology, from the youngest child in India tend to be very au fait. So is there room in your mind for that kind of development where we just use the technology, we use the cultural industries, we use the market, the CARICOM market, and the vision that you have in terms of public sector, private sector partnership? Is there anything else that we could develop in terms of that, using that technology?
Short answer, yes. I run a few programs. In Jamaica, we ran a program called Hour of Code.
Hour of Code?
An Hour of Code, HOC.
Wow, okay.
An Hour of Code teaches anyone from age 4 up how to code. And this is how to write computer code.
Yes.
Okay, we start with very simple systems and then we graduate. We also ran robotics programs, teaching kids how to use robotics. This comes out of the whole STEM program.
Right.
Now, there's a lot that I can say in this space, but let me just say this. Barbados is ripe for our young people who embrace technology to stop using it just socially,
right,
and to start using it as a social science. One of the things that we need to do as a government and as a country is that we need to let go of the fear that we have, that we aren't good enough to produce products.
You think we're risk averse as a country, generally
I
speaking?
think we are
fearful. What?
We are absolutely terrified of risk. We're absolutely terrified of taking a plunge. And that's why the government has consistently been the one who has to go out and make the investment to show that it can work. And then the private sector comes in afterwards. And that's a cultural thing that we need to deal with. But I am seeing a whole host of young people who are looking to sidestep those norms and don't have that fear and are willing to do things that are
branch
great.
out.
Now, look at this for instance. We use all type of proprietary softwares across the country. Most often, we go and put a tender for an international firm who doesn't understand the cultural idiosyncrasies of the country.
Right, absolutely.
To do the coding for that software. When more often than not, there's local talent who could do it. And imagine if we were to invest in those local firms to provide software for our development. Look at the ecosystem that we feed. Instead of giving an ITAS system to a firm out of Quebec, or another platform to a firm out of Saudi Arabia, or China, or Chile, or Germany. Get local developers to do it. The platforms that they use are all the same. And the only way that you can build scale is by having a client base. So we starve our own businesses by not allowing them the opportunity to be able to build these apps and platforms. At the University of the West Indies, it's perhaps the only institution that I know of its kind that doesn't have its students doing prototypes for consumer business.
Okay.
Everywhere that I have, well, the 2 places that I've been to school, even in your first degree program, far less your master's program, a huge section of that is to develop a working product. We don't do it here.
So George, your vision really is broad-based, using tourism to technology, culture, science, to really push Barbados to that new level. And I really like what you're hearing, because it tells me that we have people, we have candidates in the Democratic Labour Party who are sufficiently confident of where Barbados needs to go in another 5 years. But let's come back to your constituency now, because some may be watching and saying, well, what can he offer me? He's talking about national development, he's talking about using the sciences, cultural industries, but come home to me now at my level, at the level of the household unit. I'm a mother with 4 children, single parent. What do you have to offer me if you become my representative? How would you respond to someone asking that type of question in your constituency, or the constituency that perhaps you're going to become the representative of?
Well, let me go at the beginning and come back to the end. One of the first things that the constituency needs badly is active, constant engagement.
Okay.
Something that has been quite absent for some time. There are 2 things that I'm going to do almost immediately. We've got website set up. We have 1 office to the west. We're going to set up another office to the east so people can engage.
And that's 2 constituency offices
2
for
constituency
you.
offices. We're going to have 2 town hall meetings a year so that people can hear what we would like to do. We can hear what they would like us to do. We can get feedback. We can show them progress. They can ask questions. And there's active engagement and there's consensus on what to do and what not to do. Because I don't want to force my ideas on
so dialogue,
unwilling patient.
Participation, discussion with the stakeholders.
Discussion,
yes.
Clear, open discussion. Now, to the specific question that you asked, which deals with single mom, 4 children, what am I going to do? The first thing that
Go ahead.
the first thing that we've done is that jobs is one of the critical factors in this area.
Okay.
So
and not just jobs for young people, but jobs across the board.
Jobs, period, because people need to work.
That's right.
So my team has so far placed about 8 persons into jobs.
Okay.
And the thing about it is we've been able to match those skills just based on networking. I have these skill sets, I need a person in this area. We are training people in coding. We're training them how to use computers, etc. Because there are hives that use skilled talent in that area to build software, to test software, etc. So persons can work from home, building through hives and using software. The other thing that we're doing to help moms like that is that we've got 30% unemployment on the island. And one of the things that we need to do is that we need to look for opportunities where we've taken the cultural industries, we need to ramp that up. And we need to look for opportunities as well for immigration. For people to have skills that allow them to go into the wider world and be successful. My first real job was in St. Vincent. Then I moved to Grenada and Trinidad after that. There is nothing wrong with our people taking their talent out of a market that can't absorb the particular area that they want to work in and thrive in somewhere else.
Okay.
Those are one of the things that we're going to do.
I particularly enjoyed hearing from you, George, and if I can sum you up, I will just say that for you, there are no problems, just tasks to be solved. And I wish you all the best. And I'm sure the viewing audience would have heard what George Connolly said to the Connolly, I beg your pardon.
Connolly
said to the said to all of Barbados tonight, and why he should be the representative, the next representative in the general elections for the St. James Central. Thank you very much for viewing. We'll come back and we'll interview Henderson Williams.